You probably can't imagine Titanic without Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet as Jack and Rose. What if I told you that Leo almost didn't do the movie? The actor thought Titanic was boring.
Do it. We'll drink cheap beer. We'll ride on the roller coaster till we Come on, I'll show you. Let's do it.
Yeah, arguably the biggest success of his career, and one of the most popular movies of all time. DiCaprio thought it was boring before he even got the part. Now everyone knows that his co-star, Kate, fought tooth and nail to land the role of Rose. Some heavy lobbying was involved, and the actress has never shied away from admitting to it. But Leonardo couldn't be less enthusiastic, and that's coming straight from the director James Cameron's mouth, who apparently had to persuade the actor to sign on the film. James recently did an interview with People magazine after releasing his new, and might I add, highly successful Avatar sequel. The famous director revealed that DiCaprio thought the movie, and especially his role, was boring. To put it simply, it was less about the story and more about Jack's character. You see, Leo was quite popular back then, but was still in the nascent stage of his career.
The best I've seen, ma'am. Hardly any rats. No thanks, I've got to be heading back.
Much more was on the way, and he didn't want to mess things up in any way, even if that meant giving up the lead role. I get it. It's natural for the actor to be cautious about his choices, especially back then. He was only 21, maybe even 20 when these discussions were taking place. One small slip could be significant damage to his career. It wasn't that he found Titanic as something he couldn't do. I mean, there's nothing this man can't do. He probably didn't want to play a lead man in yet another romantic movie. I think he was struck by the fear of being typecast. He'd recently gotten immense popularity from his role of Romeo in Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet adaptation in 1996. Another role like that, and he could kiss his hopes and dreams of doing other genres goodbye. Cameron revealed he didn't want to be a leading man.
Moment of truth. Somebody's life's about to change. Fabrizio?
The director also added that he had to really twist Leo's arm to convince him to be in the movie. One thing is for sure, James was determined to have his way, and he did. In fact, he persuaded Leo that this new role would be grueling. DiCaprio was looking for more challenging roles, and James had to convince him of that his movie and Jack's role would indeed be grueling. And he wasn't wrong. I mean, the film was literally centered around a shipwreck. And not just any ship, the Titanic, the largest ship of its time, a so-called unsinkable ship, now remembered for being sunk. There were going to be high budgets and hectic filming routines involved. Everyone knows that the cast had to shoot many complex scenes while in water, not to mention that filming lasted for a difficult 7 months. Cameron told Leo that the movie would be challenging and demanding, and his promise turned out to be true. The actor agreed to it and got the part, as everyone knows now. But that doesn't mean that there weren't any other obstacles standing in their way. The actor had quite a few issues back then, and James wanted DiCaprio to be in the movie.
Flying! Jack.
But he wasn't that desperate. He was ready to drop the actor after Leo refused to screen test for the movie. This ace director has been dropping Titanic bombshells left and right this past year, and the timing is very fitting, with the movie reaching its 25th anniversary soon. Leo may have won James's heart in his first meeting, but the screen test was going to be a bit more unsettling. After the actor agreed to the story, Cameron set up a screen test for him and Kate. Keep in mind that Kate was already locked in for Rose. Leo, on the other hand, was not officially in. Of course he wasn't. This was a really huge movie. The director had to ensure everything was just right. Now, the camera was set up and the lines were there, but there was one minor issue. Leonardo didn't know he was there to test. He thought it was just another meeting with Winslet. Naturally, he was taken aback when James told him that he'd have to run some lines and that he would be videotaped. Leo said, "Oh, I don't read. That's it. No explanations, no nothing." He just straight up said that. I'm sure James had had enough of these dramatics by that point. It's not surprising that he was ready to wave DiCaprio goodbye. The actor probably thought he was locked in, especially after James had persuaded him to join in. But he was in for a shock, and he didn't want the part at first. But things had changed. He didn't want to lose what could be a life-changing opportunity. So thankfully, he ended up doing the screen test anyway. Cameron was ready to turn him away, but the then 21-year-old came rushing back to him. He was almost confused. He couldn't grasp that he wouldn't get the part if he didn't agree to the screen test. Well, James had the perfect reply for him. He told the famous actor that this movie would take 2 years of his life, if not more. it was his only job for the foreseeable future. On the other hand, Leo could be doing many other things in his life while the movie's still being made. The director wasn't gonna mess everything up by making one wrong decision in casting.
I saw that in a Nickelodeon once and I always wanted to do it.
He said, "You're going to read or you're not going to get the part." Leo did read then, and in one single moment, Cameron knew that he'd be the perfect Jack.
All right, you're a spoiled little brat even. But under that, you're the most amazingly astounding, wonderful woman that I've ever known.
And he was. The leading pair's performances made Titanic the highest-grossing film of its time, and the third highest-grossing film of all time. Now, DiCaprio may have done that role without any more hiccups, at least as far as the public knows, but his other movies weren't as lucky. You see, Titanic wasn't the only movie he was initially reluctant to do. DiCaprio was also hesitant to do The Great Gatsby.
There's anything that you want. Just ask for it, old sport.
This time too, it was more about the character than the story. The Great Gatsby was a popular movie with a very loyal fan base. Naturally, fans had certain expectations about the character of Jay Gatsby.
I'm Gatsby.
And Leo doubted whether his portrayal might upset those fans. Everyone had their own interpretations. There wasn't one acceptable version that DiCaprio could stick to, so doing that role was a leap of faith for him. And honestly, he wasn't entirely wrong in having those doubts. But that's a video for another day. For better or worse, he signed on for the movie, which featured an ensemble cast including Tobey Maguire and Joel Edgerton. With such a large and strong ensemble, anyone can expect some friction. As far as I know, Leo never had much beef with anyone on set, but Joel has been saying some things that make me think otherwise. Edgerton felt unhealthy friction with Leo on set. He was playing the mentally stern Tom Buchanan in the movie, and everyone who's read or watched The Great Gatsby knows about this character's tense dynamic with Jay Gatsby. Joel is the kind of actor who keeps himself immersed in his character whenever he's on set. Whether the camera's rolling or not, he needs to really feel it. This sometimes affected his work with Leo because of the character he was playing. Joel once said, "There's a kind of unhealthy friction that exists between Leo and I on set." Such comments were obviously going to be twisted by tabloids, and soon enough, there were rumors about a feud between the two co-actors. Thankfully, Edgerton was very swift in clarifying his remarks before the matter got out of hand. He said that the whole thing was taken out of context, when in reality, the two got along well. Joel had been a fan of Leo since What's Eating Gilbert Grape, and has always looked up to him. And that's all for Leo's almost disputes in his movies. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.